The fragile peace of the Kashmir Valley was shattered on April 22, 2025. A brutal terrorist attack targeted unsuspecting tourists in Pahalgam, a picturesque town in Indian-administered Kashmir. This violent act resulted in the tragic deaths of 25 tourists and a local guide. The scale and audacity of the attack immediately sent shockwaves across the region and beyond. It was clear from the outset that this incident was not an isolated act of violence. Instead, it served as a dangerous spark, threatening to ignite the long-simmering tensions between India and Pakistan. India's reaction to the Pahalgam massacre was swift and unequivocal. New Delhi pointed the finger directly at Pakistan, accusing its neighbor of supporting the militants responsible for the carnage. This accusation was based on preliminary intelligence assessments and historical patterns of cross-border terrorism. However, Pakistan vehemently denied any involvement in the attack. Islamabad condemned the violence but insisted it had no hand in orchestrating or facilitating the incident. Following the verbal sparring, diplomatic relations between India and Pakistan deteriorated rapidly. India announced its withdrawal from a significant water-sharing pact, a move with serious implications for regional resource management. Both countries significantly scaled back their diplomatic missions. Military forces were placed on heightened alert along the border and the line of control in Kashmir. The simmering crisis boiled over on May 7, 2025. India launched a series of missile attacks targeting what it claimed were 9 distinct sites inside Pakistan. New Delhi asserted that these locations were terrorist infrastructure directly linked to the Pahalgam attack and other militant activities. The strikes were not confined to areas near the border. Some targeted locations deep within Pakistani Punjab. Significantly, one Indian missile strike was reported to have occurred near Pakistan's Army General Headquarters in Rawalpindi. For these unprecedented strikes, India deployed sophisticated weaponry. It marked the first ever use of BrahMos supersonic cruise missiles and Scalp-Egg Storm Shadow air-launched cruise missiles against Pakistan. Pakistan reported that these attacks resulted in 31 civilian casualties, a claim that further inflamed public opinion within the country. India, conversely, stated that its strikes successfully neutralized numerous terrorist operatives and their support structures. The days following the initial missile volleys, specifically May 8th and 9th, saw further military provocations. India launched multiple drones into Pakistani airspace, likely for reconnaissance and possibly further targeting operations. Pakistan's direct military retaliation came on May 10, 2025. Concurrent with the missile and drone exchanges, the Line of Control, LOC, in Kashmir, became a scene of intense fighting on May 8 and 9, 2025. This de facto border, always a volatile flashpoint, witnessed significant ground engagements. Reports indicated heavy exchanges of artillery fire, mortar shelling, and direct fire from small arms between Indian and Pakistani forces. These clashes were not isolated skirmishes but represented a serious escalation along the LOC, reminiscent of previous periods of high tension. The rugged terrain and entrenched positions made these engagements particularly dangerous. Both sides suffered casualties, though precise numbers were obscured by the fog of war and conflicting official statements from military sources. During this period of heightened aerial activity, Pakistan's air defense systems were put to a significant test. Islamabad claimed that its forces, reportedly utilizing the Chinese-origin HQ-9 long-range surface-to-air missile system, successfully intercepted and shot down up to 4 Indian aircraft. On the other side, Indian air defense systems were also actively engaged. Reports suggested that Indian defenses were largely successful in neutralizing Pakistani drone attacks. By May 10, the overall military situation was extremely precarious. As the crisis peaked on May 10, 2025, with both nations exchanging significant fire, international diplomatic efforts intensified. A crucial breakthrough came with the announcement of a ceasefire, brokered by the United States. This intervention halted the immediate hostilities. The U.S. engagement reflected deep concern about the conflict spiraling out of control. The speed of the ceasefire underscored Washington's leverage in the region. The United States played a critical role in crisis management. Senior American officials were in constant communication with their Indian and Pakistani counterparts. The ceasefire announcement brought global relief. Section 5. India's Nuclear Posture, Deterrence and Evolving Doctrines. India's nuclear arsenal, as of May 2025, was estimated to consist of over 180 nuclear warheads. This stockpile is supported by a developing triad of delivery systems. India possesses increasingly longer-range ballistic missiles, such as the Agni series, many of which are mobile and land-based, enhancing their survivability. Furthermore, India has been actively collaborating with Russia to develop its capabilities for launching nuclear weapons from naval ships and submarines. The ongoing development of a sea-based deterrent, particularly nuclear-powered ballistic missile submarines, aims to provide India with a secure second strike capability. The official nuclear doctrine of India is anchored by a no-first-use policy. Section 6. Pakistan's Nuclear Strategy, Ambiguity, and Red Lines. Pakistan's nuclear arsenal, as of May 2025, was estimated to comprise over 170 nuclear warheads. Its nuclear forces are primarily based on mobile short and medium-range ballistic missiles, such as the Shaheen and Nazar series. These systems are designed to provide a credible deterrent against India's larger conventional military forces. Pakistan has received significant technological support from China in developing its missile capabilities. The focus of Pakistan's nuclear program has consistently been India-centric, aiming to offset perceived conventional military imbalances. Unlike India, Pakistan has not declared a comprehensive official nuclear doctrine, opting instead for a policy often described as strategic ambiguity. This approach allows for flexibility in response options and avoids explicitly defining all conditions under which nuclear weapons might be used. Despite the overall ambiguity, Pakistani officials and strategists have, over time, articulated certain general conditions or thresholds that could trigger nuclear use. Pakistan explicitly maintains a no-NFU policy, meaning it reserves the option to use nuclear weapons first in a conflict. Section 7. The Shadow of the Bomb, Expert Opinions and Global Concerns. The May 2025 crisis brought the terrifying possibility of nuclear exchange in South Asia into sharp focus. Dan Smith, the director of the Stockholm International Peace Research Institute, commented that while using nuclear weapons would be an act of profound stupidity, it is unfortunately not impossible. This sentiment reflects a common concern among arms control experts. The immense destructive power of these weapons, capable of causing unprecedented devastation and long-term environmental consequences, should theoretically make their use unthinkable. However, the pressures of a severe crisis, coupled with miscalculation or irrational decision-making under duress, mean that the unthinkable can, tragically, become a reality. Laura Salman, also from Cypri, has highlighted the particular dangers associated with Pakistan's policy of strategic ambiguity concerning its nuclear red lines. While ambiguity can theoretically enhance deterrence by creating uncertainty for an adversary, it also carries substantial risks. It can lead to an inadvertent crossing of these undeclared red lines by an opponent who misjudges the situation. Conversely, ambiguity might also restrain a state from taking conventional actions it deems necessary for fear of unintentionally triggering a nuclear response. Section 8. Aftermath and Future Implications. Lessons from the Brink. In the aftermath of the May 2025 crisis, India and Pakistan stepped back from the brink of war. This was the closest the two nuclear-armed neighbors have come to conflict since 1998. The narrowly averted war underscores the volatility of their relationship. The ceasefire has not resolved deep-seated animosities and territorial disputes. The events of May 2025 set a dangerous baseline for future crises. Both nations will analyze military exchanges and weapon system performance. This will drive further military innovations. The crisis may fuel an intensified arms race. The standoff is a stark reminder of the challenge of maintaining nuclear stability in South Asia.